This is the Checka Pro Radio Show. Checka Pro Joe has assembled a team of pre-qualified home service contractors to bring you the latest in services, products, and techniques. Now, here's your host, the man with a hard hat and tool belt, Checka Pro Joe.
Water heaters are something we take for granted. We turn on the faucet and we expect to have hot water. But you know how it works. Most of us have either a tank or a tankless water heater in our homes, and we may have more than one. I've asked the expert, Bobby Crowder from the Family Plumber, to join me here on the radio program today to talk about the differences between tank and tankless water heaters. Bobby, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here. So you know this, of course, because you're a plumber. There's the old tank, and then there's the relatively new tankless. They're really two totally different delivery systems to bring hot water to our sinks, to our bathtubs, to our showers. Can you explain a little bit what the differences are and maybe the pros and cons?
Sure. It's actually pretty straightforward. One has, holds, 30, 40, 50, 75 gallons of water. The other one doesn't hold anything except for maybe a little gallon of reserve. They both are going to be electric or gas, natural gas, or even propane as well. On the tank, it's got, for instance, like a natural gas water heater. It's going to have a burner at the bottom. It's going to heat that 30, 40, 50 gallons of water that's inside that tank. The tankless, it passes through little tiny pipes inside the tank itself, slow enough, but fast enough to provide, your volume of water and heats that up right away. People mistake tankless or instant hot water. That's not true. You still have to get to point A to point B, but you can put a pump that's built into the tankless, and you can also add a pump to your tank system as well. So that really comes down to a point of, how many people live in the home. I'll recommend a tankless or a tank.
There's also another big difference. Depending upon where your water heater is, you may not want 40 or 50 gallons in your attic or in your garage in a tank. That's a lot of water to go wrong. So isn't that a concern for some people saying, well, I have this water heater. What happens if it begins to leak? Well, you may have 50 gallons leaking.
Correct. You got to keep in mind, too, just like if the tankless leaks, too, even though it doesn't have a full tank of, 30, 40, 50 gallons, it still has water going to it. So it'll still pour out water just like a regular tank would pour out water. It holds more water. So say if that natural tank bursts, it's just going to, yes, it'll definitely create a lot more damage than a tankless would for sure.
So to clarify, everybody, the tank is what we all grew up with. And for the past 10, 15 years, we've really seen in this country the tankless come in. They really started over in Europe, overseas.
That's correct.
Yeah,
correct.
And so they're becoming more and more popular here. They are a little more expensive, but they're more versatile. You can even put them on the outside wall, like outside your garage. You don't have to necessarily be inside the garage.
That's true, because see, with the tankless, it only activates when it detects water flow. So natural gas, it'll fire up, or electrical, it'll heat the elements. On a tank, it has to maintain that temperature throughout the whole day, 24 hours, 365 days a year, to keep that 30, 40, 50 gallons heated at that temperature.
Yeah, so if you have a hot garage, or in some parts of the country, they put them in the attic. In the summertime, it's actually not a bad deal because that tank will stay pretty warm if you're over 100 degrees in that area. Bobby Crowder is the Family Plumber. He's based in Surprise, Arizona. For more information on how to reach him, just check out the information here on the podcast description. Bobby, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Checka Pro is your local source for pre-qualified contractors. Stay tuned for more of the Checka Pro Radio Show.